Good afternoon. My name is Darryl, D-A-R-R-Y-L. Last name is Jones, J-O-N-E-S. I am the Chief of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire and the city's Emergency Management Coordinator. Any questions?
All right, Chief Jones, talk about what phase are you going into right now? Because you were talking about the initial phase of seeing what was under the bridge. I know there were some voids under there that you all were looking through.
Yes, so we are transitioning from our response phase, which was the first thing that happened this morning. That's when all the first responders arrived and the rescues took place. We're now transitioning into a recovery phase where we are trying to just clean up this, get the vehicles extricated and secure the area so no one else can get hurt, and continue on with our investigation.
When you talk about recovery phase, how many vehicles are down there now?
Right now we have 5 vehicles down there. We have 4 plus the bus.
Chief, are you pretty confident then that no one else is trapped down there?
Yes, I am. Excuse me. We called in our Pennsylvania Urban Search and Rescue Strike Team 1, who has the equipment and personnel to go in, drill in various spots of the bridge decking, looking inside the void spaces, making sure no one was there. Fortunately, no one was found. Just to be on added level of security on that, we also called in search specialists with K9 dogs who are trained to find victims in rubble, and they are going through the area right now and nothing's been found yet. They should be wrapping up shortly.
Chief, you've had some time to look at this huge ravine that's created when the bridge collapsed. What are some of your impressions when you look at that?
Well, like I said, this morning I think we were come out on the lucky end of this thing. A half hour later, the bridge would have been full with vehicles, with commuters going back and forth. It would have been a lot worse. No one died. I know a lot of people are upset. You know, how could this happen? It's under investigation. We're going to try to determine that. But in the end, as of right now, this is just one major inconvenience. People have to find a different way to work, a different way home. It's going to cause traffic congestion, but overall, with the potential that there was, I think we'd come out ahead on this one.
When you talk about the rescue, they had a human chain.
And the bus.
Well, right now we have a contractor here, a large crane. You see it up there. They're going to be the ones responsible for that.
When you talk about the rescue, a human chain was made earlier today.
Yes.
Kind of walk us through that. What happened when it comes to rescuing people from the bus, in addition to the cars
Well,
that
fortunately, like I said, most of the people weren't hurt. They were or hurt bad. They were ambulatory. So our emergency medical services, they're the ones who handle rescue in the city. They had their heavy rescue units there. They went into action, made sure that they set up the haul systems and things that were needed. Fire engines were on scene at the time, and they were able to go down, and with the people being ambulatory, able to walk, it was just basically a human chain of just helping people up. So we got the people up on top. They were evaluated. I think a couple, 3 were transported, and everybody suffered non-life-threatening injuries. So that's where we are right now.
Can any of you address the inspection reports on the bridge? Councilman O'Connor, Public Safety Director Smith, can either of you address where we are in the inspection reports?
Yeah, I mean, the inspection report was made, the last one that we have on record was this past September. You know, DOMI has looked into that. They're going through that again in case there was anything missed. But the last inspection was this past fall. Came out with what we've heard was a poor rating. I don't know what that ultimately means. I think we have to, as a city moving forward with so many bridges, tunnels, slides, things like that, we have to look at what those inspections mean, get into greater detail, and then even bump up, I know there's state and federal rules and regulations around these bridges, maybe even at a local level, we bump up our standards so that something like this doesn't happen.
Do you know 2 years ago there was work done? Do you know the extent of that work?
Yes, generally there was work done. There were some steel beams underneath there. They were replaced with, I'm not an engineer, but some type of bungee cord to hold it all together. We then repaved it in that matter of time. Since then, we have not gotten any other reports about this. The inspection, again, was done this past September.
Can you tell us if any work had been done since that September inspection? And also, the federal government seemed to know that this bridge was in poor condition for many years. Was this just a catastrophe waiting to happen?
So since September, to my knowledge, there had not been any work done by Public Works or Department of Mobility or anybody like that. When it comes to the poor condition, again, we did a repair a couple of years back. I think the full bridge was somewhere in the 70s. I don't remember the time frame on that. But we obviously know the federal government has had their stamp on this today, the president being here talking about infrastructure, and I think that's what we as a council need to look at in the future about inspections, what that looks like, and then obviously our bridge repairs and our inspections that go forward in the future in the city of Pittsburgh.
When you're talking about raising standards, that's what you mentioned, and you also said that it registered at poor, the bridge. So should it have been passable at that point? What are the standards
And again,
now?
I don't know what those standards are. If you're an engineer, and our Department of Mobility obviously got the report, saw that this bridge did not need to be closed at the time. We have shut bridges down in the past. When it comes to the Greenfield Bridge, also just a couple of miles from here, we shut that down, we rebuilt it. So I don't know the standards to when you get to a point where it has to be shut down, but I think that's something that we have to look at as a council to say, what are our standards locally and up them? Because, you know, state and federal guidelines they have their justification for why they do that. But at a local level, having so many bridges that we all cross daily, we need to up our game and figure out what those standards need to be in the future of Pittsburgh.
Can one of you explain who's leading this investigation? Is it the city? Is it NTSB? I've heard there's a lot of different departments out here.
Acting Director Schmidt?
So, you need my name.
Yeah,
Lee Schmidt, Leeschmidt. I'm Acting Director of Public Safety for the City of Pittsburgh right now. The investigation's multiple agencies involved right now. DOMI, engineers, you know, just to verify everything, make sure everything, why it collapsed, you know, it'll take a little time to figure that out. There were engineers from PennDOT on scene assisting as well. So we have multi-jurisdictions, including federal partners and local.
is the NTSB here now?
To my knowledge, no.
And are you going to look at other bridges that perhaps in that report were listed also as in poor condition overall?
That would be something to talk to DOMI about. That's not a public safety, you know.
Are you concerned about that as being part
Well,
of
obviously, yeah, luckily our police, fire, medics trained very well and are trained very well. The help of the region's USAR team to conduct the search today. We're all concerned, you know, we respond and we come to fix things. We don't want this to happen again. You know, we'll definitely be talking to DOMI. I've been talking to DOMI all day, and we'll just continue to work with everybody to see what we can do to improve
When
things.
you're talking about DOMI before, also I would imagine tonnage limits are have to be looked at all over again given the circumstances, correct?
And these are all
Again,
questions
those
for
are-
the
yeah.
Department of Mobility
very
and
good.
Infrastructure.
Are they going to be available for us?
Hopefully at some point they'll
Yeah,
have
at some
some
point they
information
will,
that we'll
but
get out to you.
they're not on scene right now. This is still a public safety scene. Along those lines, just want to remind everyone, Frick Park remains closed until further notice. 100-yard area around the site specifically will be highly secured. We will have officers here 24/7 until such time we determine that it is safe. So we please ask everyone to stay away from the scene. We don't want to see anyone get injured or hurt. The hillsides are very steep. The trails are full of snow, and there could be debris and rubble and instability that we're not aware of right now. So we ask the public to stay out of the park and away from it.
rating the bridge as poor quality?
I have no idea. I am a public safety professional, not any sort of infrastructure engineer. So
Can anyone go back to the rescue? What was the lay of the land as far as the people as they were being accessed by the first responders?
Chief,
Were they
I'll let
down
him.
at the bottom of the ravine, and that's what led to the rappelling down and the.
By my understanding, wasn't a sudden drop, but more of a crumble and a collapse. And that's part of the reason why I believe that the injuries weren't as severe as they could have been, because it wasn't a sudden jolt and stop. They were there. Some of them had self-extricated from their vehicles, and we just helped them up the incline, which wasn't vertical, but it is pretty steep. And combine that with the weather conditions, the ice and the snow that we had, it was a little treacherous, and we did manage to get everybody up.
And most of those who suffered injuries, they were minor injuries, but most of them were first responders.
Yes, and some of those were strains and slips and falls. Yes, that's true. But there was.
Catholic Church smelled gas in the area. Was there something that?
Yes, when the bridge collapsed, it did rupture People's Gas line. People's Gas secured the line rapidly. Our crews went in. There's several homes that were evacuated. Our crews went in and metered, made sure that it was safe. And once it was safe, we allowed them back into their homes, and all of their utilities were restored at that time. So no one at this time is out in the cold. Everyone has gas, electric, and their utilities on.
Were some of your officers also sent to the hospital because of exhaustion? Is one of the things I heard?
No, I don't think any of my people, first responders, were transported. We do have some assistance from the Port Authority. They brought a bus down as a warming station so the guys could take time getting there. Excuse me, we have the Salvation Army on scene, and we also had the Red Cross because we started getting a lot of people coming up worried about their family members. So the Red Cross set up a victims assistance station down the street here, and so everything was handled. They've since shut that down, and we're the only ones here still on the scene.
For the first responders who are still on the scene that we can see behind us, what is their role right now? What specifically are they doing behind us?
Wrapping up. We're wrapping up, getting our equipment back on the rigs, getting ready to go back, get back in service, and get ready for the next emergency.
What happens next here tomorrow? Who's out here tomorrow?
As far as I know, I think that would be DPW or DOMI. The inspectors will be out here tomorrow. This area will still be isolated and secured. The operators doing the train, the cars will still be being evacuated or removed. I don't know how long that's going to take. And then we have to, of course, the investigation process.
Is the crane that's back there pulling the vehicles out, is that going to cease operations soon too and wrap up, or are they going to continue through the night?
They're probably going to continue through the night. I'm not sure about that, though.
That's going to be a multi-day process, I'm told by them.
And Corey, you got any time frame on I'm sure you're going to do a replacement bridge here, but this is you're talking 6 months to a year probably, right?
Oh, easy, if not longer. I mean, to replace this is going to be maybe almost 2. I mean, just to be honest, we have to go clean up is more important. Everybody's safe, that's great. But then after that, we have to look at, design, engineering, put it out to bid, find funding for it, because you're looking at millions of dollars that right now, I don't know where that would be in the city budget. So you would have to go look at state and federal budget. You have to. I mean, this road, and knowing that PennDOT is going to do a project outside of the Squirrel Hill tunnels, without this road as access in the next 2 years, there's going to be a lot of traffic issues, as well as commuters trying to go to work. I mean, I know a lot of people that just walk their kids to school down the street. I don't know what they're going to do for the next few months. So we're already talking with, Port Authority about rerouting bus routes. Do we have to have more officers here just with traffic concerns? This and the Squirrel Hill Tunnel Bridge is going to create a huge problem if we don't time them right.
I talked with the bridge manufacturing company earlier, and they talked about a temporary bridge. Have they discussed anything with you? I know they were here in the planning phases.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen temporary bridges before. We have not been told that that's what they would do. I think it's cleaning and then getting something from PennDOT and design as quick as we could do that.
And to clarify real quick, 4 cars in the bus, or yes?
Yeah.
So,
All right,
Well, they say 5. They said 5 cars before. It was
4 cars and a bus.
So not 5 cars.
5 plus the bus.
5 sorry, 5 plus the bus. 5 cars plus the bus.
All right, thank you guys.
Corey,
Yes.
can I get you live?
That is a DOMI function as well.
Department of Mobility and Infrastructure.
Which we haven't been able to get a hold of.
Yeah. And
This is Public Safety Department, first responders.
Is there somebody from the mayor's office that can help us with that?
You would direct your questions to them. That would be your best. Okay. Sorry for.
All right, forgive us as we try to get settled here. Hearing from City Councilman Corey O'Connor, Pittsburgh Fire Chief Darrell Jones, and some other city officials. And really what sticks out to me is the fact that this happened at 20 minutes to 7 in the morning, and only within the past hour or so did they become absolutely certain that there were no other victims, that they had somehow been overlooked, or they had just not discovered in the debris and in the chaos, that wreckage of those vehicles in the ravine. Now, as Chief Jones said, one of the uncanny aspects to today's events is that it happened on the day that President Biden was coming to Pittsburgh to talk about infrastructure